Hello. Today in my storytelling playlist, I'm going to talk about a surreal experience I had at El Hombre, Elefante, David Lynch's The Elephant Man. At the time of the recording of this video, a few weeks ago, David Lynch passed. In the city that I'm living in, there was a retrospective viewing of The Elephant Man. I was quite excited because I'd only been to one film here at a big sort of corporate movie theater, and this looked like more of an art house kind of thing. So I was quite ready to do it. So I walked there. It's not too far from my apartment. I'm looking at the dress, and there's just this doorway. And I'm like, okay, this doesn't look like a movie theater. And so I'm kind of looking in the doorway to see if I made a mistake. And there's like a table with some kind of knickknacks that someone's selling. And I'm kind of looking around, and eventually this old woman comes to the door, and she's speaking to me in Spanish, and I understand a little, and she points to a flyer that's kind of pinned on the wall far inside the doorway, and it's the David Lynch flyer. I'm like, okay, I guess this is the place. So she invites me in, and it's basically someone's house. And I'm like, okay. She speaks no English, so I'm trying my best in my limited Spanish, and I pay for it. And it was about 7 USD, which was about double what it would be at the main movie theater. I'm standing there and I'm paying for it, and she asks where I'm from, and I tell her, and this other guy comes in and he pays. So I'm like, okay, at least I'm not the only person here. And then she leads us down this flight of stairs. And we end up in this room, and I think possibly it was their living room. I'm not really sure. And she invites me to sit down, and I sit in this folding chair, and there's probably like 6 or 7 chairs put out, and then there's a couch. You know, I'm looking around kind of thinking, okay, this is going to be an interesting experience. So to my left, there is a projector, and then there's like a subwoofer underneath it. There's no screen. There's just a blank wall. One by one, more people arrive, and she gives us all this charm, which I thought was kind of interesting. And she starts to chat me up about David Lynch, and of course, you know, I probably am understanding maybe 25% of what she's saying. But eventually she hands me this copy of Blue Velvet, which is a bootleg. That's when I notice on the wall there's this shelf with many other bootlegs. And I'm just kind of sitting there going, okay, I don't know. I scan the room, you know, kind of take in my surroundings. There's like a painting of a parrot and some Mexican masks and just odd things. So a few more people come in. All in all, there were maybe 7 people there, including the husband and wife. The husband starts giving this speech about the film. This goes on for about 15 minutes. It's all in Spanish, and I'm just kind of sitting there. I am the only foreigner in there. Eventually, the movie starts, and they shot it onto this wall. But if you've been to Mexico, you know, a lot of the walls are kind of distressed or broken up, repainted many times. It was not the ideal place to be showing a film, I'll just say that. And the other thing is, as soon as it started, I'm like, this is in the wrong aspect ratio. It's supposed to be like widescreen, and it's like really narrow, and everybody's, you know, looking strange in it. I look around to see if anyone else notices, and nobody seems to notice or care. So I'm like, okay, well, you know, whatever. So the movie starts playing, and I hadn't seen it in a long time. I mean, I'm not even sure how many years, but, you know, I know it's a pretty heavy film, and so I'm not sure if the other people had seen it. It kind of seemed like they hadn't. I kind of knew what we were in for, and a lot of the people, you know, eventually got kind of emotional, and the vibe in the room got really awkward, and even a few people cried. And it was just, you know, if you've seen The Elephant Man, you know how heavy the film is. It ends, and everybody, you know, it's like getting punched in the stomach. Everybody's just like, there's complete silence for a few minutes. The woman brings out this tray of coffee, cake, and tea. As soon as she does that, the man on my right, the one that came in with me, he ducks out. He's like, I'm out of here. I'm like, you know, in the back of my head, I'm like, I should probably leave now too. But you know, I was just like, I'm going to see a little bit more what this is. So I'm instantly dreading this coffee cake because, it's got nuts in it and it's got, a ton of sugar I can already see. It's just going to be not fun for me to eat. And I'm a carnivore mostly. At the time, I didn't know what tea it was. So I politely take it thinking, I don't really want to eat this. But I'm going to be polite and I'm going to eat it. So I start eating it, and the tea is chamomile, and instantly I start having this reaction to it. Like I can feel my lips getting like kind of puffy a little bit. And my face feels, a little tingly, and I'm like, great, I hope I don't have some allergic reaction or something, because I haven't had any tea in, several years now. A lot of the vegetables, when I do eat them, which I don't very often, like if I eat garlic or onion, it destroys me. My body's just not used to that anymore, so it's just a really potent reaction. During the coffee cake, the husband gives this like 20-minute John Merrick speech, again, all in Spanish, so I'm just kind of trying to figure out what's going on, listening, and picking out certain words. Thankfully, John Merrick is pretty easy to spot in Spanish, so I kind of had an idea what was going on. And then it kind of went to this everyone sharing portion where people started sharing their experiences with the film, all in Spanish. It comes to me, and, I'm like, saying it in English, but no, I don't think anybody understood what I was saying. People are nodding and stuff, but I was kind of skeptical that they actually understood. It didn't seem like they did. Everyone kind of gives their opinion, and I'm watching this happen, and all I can think of in the back of my head is I want to leave, because if it was in English, I definitely would have stayed. But it's just awkward because it was obvious that I was the odd person out. It's almost like you're not there. There were many moments where I was trying to leave, kind of like when you're at a family gathering or something and you're waiting for people to stop talking so you can duck out. Nobody stopped talking. Like as soon as someone would stop, someone else would start like immediately. So there was no moment to kind of say goodbye. So finally I got out, and I get out on the street and I'm like, wow, that was interesting. And I'm walking back to my house, and I go through the kind of main part of the city, and then the National Guard is there. Not sure why. They all had M16s, and they're all just like standing there. And, I've been to a parade here, and the National Guard was there, but, that to me seemed like a good reason to have the National Guard there. But this was just a Saturday night, and, there were some people out. I've been out other Saturday nights and I didn't see the National Guard, so I don't know why they were there. It was just really surreal. Looking back on the experience, I think, David Lynch would have probably thought it was quite comical and probably would have loved it. So, yeah, I guess I honored him in the experience. But, yeah, that's all I got for this one. Have a good day. Take care. Bye-bye.